All right, if you run a small business, you absolutely know this feeling. You make a sale, you see that money come in, but then you look at your statement and poof, a big chunk of it is just gone, eaten up by this crazy maze of payment processing fees. It's got to be one of the biggest headaches out there.
And that leads to this central, super frustrating question, right? For decades, if you wanted to accept credit cards, you had to deal with confusing statements, weird bundled rates, and all these hidden charges. It honestly feels like you need a finance degree just to figure out where your own money is going. But what if there's a better way?
Okay, let's dive into this with a really fascinating case study. This is Helcim. They're a FinTech company that decided to build their entire business model, I mean everything, right down to their logo and branding, around one core idea: making payments fair and simple. And they're pulling it off by mixing a radically transparent pricing model with some seriously smart tech. So to really get what Helcim's solution is, we first have to appreciate just how big the problem is. The traditional payments industry loves to use what's called bundled pricing. This just means all the different costs, the bank's fee, the processor's fee, you name it, they're all just lumped together. This makes it almost impossible for you, the merchant, to know what you're actually paying for any given transaction. This is where Helcim just completely flips the script with a model called interchange plus pricing. So think of interchange as the wholesale price of a transaction. It's the base cost that Visa or MasterCard sets, and nobody can change it. Now, instead of hiding that cost in a bundle of other fees, Helcim shows you that wholesale price directly, and then they just add their own small, totally transparent fee on top. That's it. You always know exactly what you're paying.
But this kind of change didn't happen overnight. Helcim's journey is actually a really cool look at how a company can evolve from being part of the old system to becoming a true software-driven fintech. Their timeline really tells the story.
You can see they started way back in 2006, and they were basically a reseller, kind of part of that old system they now compete against. But the real game changer was 2020. That's when they pivoted to become a full-stack, software-led company. And this wasn't just a new logo. This was a complete reinvention of their identity and their entire strategy. And, well, it worked. It quickly attracted millions in funding and led to all these cool new innovations.
Okay, so having a transparent business model is great, but how do you make it work efficiently when you're growing like crazy? Well, this is where the technology comes in. Let's pop the hood and take a look at the AI-powered engine that's really driving Helcim's operations. Unlike a lot of the legacy financial institutions that are built on these older, clunky on-site data centers, Helcim built its platform from the ground up on a modern cloud infrastructure. This gives them incredible scalability, flexibility, and access to all the latest and greatest tools.
And here's a quick peek at their tech stack. Now, don't worry about all the acronyms. These are all just powerful tools for building modern software. But the one to really focus on here is Vertex AI. This is basically Helcim's AI brain, and it's the secret sauce that lets them automate some of the most complicated parts of their business.
And the company themselves points to this as a key advantage. When they say something like reduce manual review workload, what they're really talking about is automating tasks that used to take entire teams of people hours and hours of work. That makes their whole operation way faster and much more cost-effective.
So what is that manual review they're talking about? It's a super critical function called underwriting. Every single time a new business applies to accept payments, someone has to assess the risk. Traditionally, that's a slow manual process. But Helcim uses its AI to do it almost instantly. That means they can get new customers up and running faster and more safely than their older competitors. Now, this is where it all comes together. You've got a fair business model combined with a seriously powerful tech stack. So how does all this translate into real-world benefits for that small business owner we talked about at the very beginning? I mean, this really puts it all side by side. The old way locks you in with confusion and commitment. You've got hidden fees, ironclad contracts, and you have to wait forever to get your own money. Helcim's approach is the complete opposite. You see every single fee, you can leave whenever you want, and you get your money the very next day. It's just a fundamentally different, better relationship. And this is one of the most powerful parts of their entire pitch: $0 in monthly fees. For a small business, or maybe a seasonal one, a fixed monthly fee can be an absolute killer. Getting rid of it removes a huge barrier to entry and a constant drain on your cash flow. And you can see from the numbers that this model is really resonating. We're not talking about some tiny startup anymore. They're handling billions of dollars in payments every year for thousands of businesses, everything from coffee shops to law firms, all across the US and Canada. And now, with new partnerships with giants like Verizon, they're getting ready to bring this model to millions more. So after looking at the problem, the business model, and the technology, what's the big takeaway here? What can we learn from the Helcim playbook?
The formula is actually pretty simple, but it's incredibly powerful. It's not just about being honest. It's about building your entire business model on transparency. Then you supercharge that model with modern technology and AI to make it unbelievably efficient. That combination is a potent formula for disrupting any industry, especially one like finance that has been so opaque for so long. And that leaves us with a pretty fascinating question for the future. As AI just keeps getting smarter and automating all this complexity, and as payments become more and more seamlessly embedded in all the software we use, could we be witnessing the beginning of the end for hidden fees altogether? It's a great question, and I guess only time will tell.